Are you looking for more appropriate solutions to improve the efficiency of your retail, logistics, warehousing, or catering business? From thermal label printers to shipping scales, we sell a variety of products to do just that. Munbin, more choice for your growing business. Visit munbin.com.
We know anxiety doesn't work 9 to 5, so anyone can text Shout anytime. But being there 24/7 takes funding. Click to donate and join the thumb war for mental health.
Cherry Printers are an established printing company that produce quality products at sensible prices. From cash receipts and invoice books to GDPR-compliant, confidential visitor sign-in books, they have it all. For more information, visit cherryprinters.co.uk. Unboxed. Proudly sponsored by Cherry Printers.
Your future. Whether it's your parents, teachers or friends asking you, what do you want to do with your life? It can be overwhelming at times to hear. Many of you will feel this way when you're starting a new school year or going off to college, sixth form or university. Or at the end of the school year when you might start a new job and be earning your own money. It could also be if you get the chance to learn a new skill or go travelling. You are listening to Unboxed with an episode about your future.
Unboxed.
With Finley Ratnet.
Finley Ratnet. Finley!
Yes, welcome to another episode of Unboxed. It's been a while, but from now on I'm going to try and upload fortnightly instead of the original plan, which was weekly. But I've been sort of working out what would be best, and it would now be fortnightly from now on. But yes, hope everyone's okay. Hope you're all alright. So this episode is about your future, and we'll cover things such as starting something new and dealing with setbacks, and also jobs, work, and also money problems as well. Now, starting something new, it's normal to feel nervous and anxious about change. Stepping out of your comfort zone and possibly meeting new friends can be a scary experience. If you're feeling unsure, there are loads of things you can do. I'll be covering some of those things in this episode, but believing in yourself can take time, but it can happen. As you build up your self-esteem, you're more likely to have the confidence to go for what you deserve, rather than settling for something or someone that makes you happy. So, obviously, in life there will be setbacks. Not everything is plain sailing. If your plans haven't turned out the way you hoped, it can really knock your confidence. It may leave you feeling frustrated, upset, and maybe even angry. But the best thing to do is to take a step back and try to find another way to get to where you want to be. My advice would be to always have a plan B. So there's something you're sort of aiming for. That can be your goal, of course it can, but also think about the possibilities of any setbacks and try to make a plan for if the original plan doesn't go to plan. I don't think I can say the word plan any more times. Now, if you feel low and find it hard to cope, talking about it can seem tough, but as we always say, it's an important first step in getting help, and it'll also help you see that change and a positive future is possible. You'll be surprised at how strong you can be, and with the right support, things can get better. Like I always say, there's so many places you can go to. There's online support like Childline and Coof, and then there's text services like Shout, where you text the word Shout to 85258. But yeah, you could also think about talking to an adult you trust. That's something I mention in every episode, whether that's a friend, a parent, a carer, a teacher, someone else in school or college you can trust. It's really important to make that first step in talking to somebody. Now, obviously, we'll start from the beginning. If you're coming up to the end of your time in school and you're worried about failing exams, it is normal to feel worried or stressed about exams, and it can be hard to cope with the pressure to do well. And having to also think about what you do after school or college on top of that is very difficult. But remember, if you don't get the results you are hoping for, there are still other options for you, and you're not alone. You can get help. You can talk to someone in school you can trust. If there's a particular or a specific subject that you're worried about having that exam, then talk to that teacher. Let them know your concerns, and I'm sure they'll be able to find a way to support you with that. And it can often feel like you have to make decisions now about what you want to do in the future. But lots of people, including adults, don't plan their career. It's okay to be unsure about your future. It's also normal to change your mind about what you want to do, or to feel like you want to do different things, maybe. Now, I know we've done an episode about living at home and family problems, but family problems can also affect your future. Sometimes problems at home can affect your decisions in your future. For example, if you're a young carer, maybe you're feeling unsure about where you'll live if your parents are divorced or separated, having nobody there to help you achieve your goals. But if things are difficult at home, you can get help with what you're going through. And again, you can talk to an adult or a teacher you can trust, or a friend who can help you think about your choices and support you with making those decisions. Now, if worries about your future are affecting you, do not bottle it up. Find someone to talk to. Try talking to your parents, teachers, or your friends. Asking an adult for help can be the first step to getting support. And I must remind you of the quote that I have on the branding for Unboxed, and that's: reaching out for support is often the most difficult step, which it is, but it is often the most vital. It is really hard to reach out, but once you've made that first step, that is a vital step to, getting support with whatever's going on. And you might also find it helpful to talk to other young people who are going through similar experiences. Childline have something on their website called message boards, and they're a great way to do this in a supportive atmosphere. And there's also apps like Tell Me, where you talk to other young people and get advice, and that's all moderated by the people who work for the apps. That's a very safe way to be open and honest about how you're feeling and get support from other young people. Now, jobs and work. Whether you're confused about your rights or you don't know how to find a job, I've got some advice to share with you in this part of the episode. So there's no right or wrong time to start looking for a job, and if you're not sure, it can help to think about what you hope to get from working, whether you're legally old enough to work, as well as other commitments you already have, like school or exams, because if you do those things, and it's really important, if you are going to get a job, then to discuss with your employer and let them know that you go to school or you go to college, and maybe you've got exams coming up, and they'll give you, or they should give you, suitable hours that helps you, work around your other commitments. And it's also important to think about what you might need to change to help you start a job. A job can be a great way to build up skills and experience, earn your own money, and boost your confidence, but it also means being responsible and giving up your free time. Now, finding a job can take time, but there are things you can do to increase your chances, and I imagine lots of you have heard of CVs. Now, your CV, it basically shows off your skills, experience, and education, as well as, education. And, once you've done your exams, you'll put your grades on there, and that those grades support your application for whatever job you're applying for. And it's often the first thing an employer will see, and it's important to make a good first impression. Some things to remember about your CV: make it easy to read. It should only be 1 to 2 pages long. Keep the formatting clear and simple. Make sure you include your contact details, such as your full name, email address, and phone number, because without those, the employer won't be able to contact you if you are successful. Also include any skills and experience you've got. This could be from other jobs, school, volunteering, or even clubs, and it can help to include any software you know how to use as well, because if you're applying for quite a technical position, then having that on your CV, again, it will support that application. Don't go into lots of detail, just include a summary of what you've done. And if you've got predicted grades, like I said, if you haven't yet got your actual grades, if you're doing GCSEs, if you haven't yet got those final grades, use your predicted grades, put those on there. And when you do get your final grades, you can just update it. But remember to give the dates you achieved anything. Even if you're filling out an application form, instead of sharing a CV, having one that's up to date can give you an easy reference of all your skills. The BBC have a great site on their website which help you write a CV, and it's called Creating a CV and Covering Letter. That's available on the BBC Bite Size website. Just search BBC Bite Size, Creating a CV and Cover Letter. Now, job hunting can take time. There's no doubt about that, but it is important to keep trying. Check websites of places or stores you might like to apply to, and ask an adult you trust whether they know anyone who's looking to hire someone. Even if you're struggling at first, it can help to remember that some places will hire more staff in the months before Christmas. It's important to think about what you can do, whether the hours would suit other responsibilities, and what you'd need to be able to go to and from work. Depending on your age, you might want to try looking for jobs doing, shop work, garden work, odd jobs like washing cars, doing household chores for money, and babysitting as well. That's quite a popular one with young people, but the NSPCC does recommend that you should be over 16 to do babysitting, and also dog walking. Lots of people have pets, and They have lots of other commitments as well. They might have to do the school run, take their kids to school. They might go off and do a 12-hour shift maybe, and they don't always have the time to walk their dog. So offering your time to walk their dog is a great opportunity to earn some of your own money. Now, obviously, when you apply for a job, you go through the whole process, and if you are successful, you'll be invited for an interview. Now, an interview is a chance for your potential employer to meet you and make a decision whether to offer you the job. This could be in person or over video chat. It is natural to be worried or anxious about an interview, but there are lots of things you can do to prepare. Dress smartly, even if it's over the phone. Dressing smartly can help you to feel more confident. If you're having a video interview, try to make sure there's nothing distracting in the background. Make sure you know when and where it is. If it's in person, plan how you'll get there and make sure you leave in plenty of time. For online and phone interviews, make sure you're somewhere quiet that you won't be disturbed. And have a friend or adult you trust. Ask questions that might come up so you can practice your answers in the interview. And don't rush to answer anything. Take your time and say if you're just taking a moment to think. Now, in terms of rights, when you start work, everyone has rights, and your rights at work help to make sure you're kept safe and treated fairly. So your age has a big impact whether you're allowed to work and the kind of work you can do. Most of the time you can only get a part-time job after you've turned 13. Sometimes people younger than 13 are allowed to work in special circumstances like in TV or theatre. If you're under 18, there are also some limits on the kind of jobs that you're allowed to do and how long you can work for. Again, there's plenty of information online, including on the government website. Just search gov.uk child employment, and there's lots of information on the website about restrictions on child employment, and it's very informative, so you can learn a lot from that. But when you're 16, you can start an apprenticeship or traineeship. But if you are between 14 to 16 years old, you may be able to join a young apprenticeship program. But when you turn 18, you can work full time. Now, the minimum age is the lowest amount you're legally allowed to be paid per hour, but employers can choose to pay you more than this. Your minimum wage depends on how old you are and what kind of job you are in. And the government usually updates them yearly, and I'm just going to check the government minimum wage right at the moment because it does change. Like I said, it changes yearly. So currently, as of April 2022, an apprentice gets $4.81. This is minimum. Apprentice is on $4.81 minimum per hour. Under 18, £4.81, same as the apprentice. If you're 18 to 20, you're entitled to a minimum of £6.83. If you're aged 21 to 22, that's a minimum of £9.18. And if you're 23 and over, you're entitled to £9.50 per hour. But yeah, if for an updated list of the minimum wages, you go to the government website, just search minimum wages, and it should pop up. Now, if you have a disability, you have rights to make sure you're not discriminated against and that you're treated fairly. It is illegal for someone to discriminate against you because you have a disability or because they think you have one. Employers have a responsibility to make reasonable adjustments to help you, including things like adjusting brakes or making sure you can use the equipment you need to. Every job and person is different, but you can ask your employer or an adult you trust for support. You can also find out more about reasonable adjustments on the government website, and you can also get support with getting to work with the Access to Work website, which is actually part of the government website. Just search Access to Work. Now, finding a job can be tough sometimes, and it can be hard to know what you might want to do in the future. Talking to other people can really help. There are lots of ways to get support of job hunting. Try networking. The more people you can talk to, the more you can find out about jobs. This is known as networking. Your school may have a career service, or you could try talking to an adult you trust. And also share your tips and questions with others. A lot of young people are looking to get their first job or their next job. You can find plenty of support and share experiences on the Your Future message boards on the Childline website. Again, that's a really good place to get advice from other young people on the Childline message boards. And you can also talk to Childline if you want to. It's not just for crisis. Many people think that Childline is a site you only go to if you're, really, really struggling. But even if you just have general concerns about life, talking to a Childline counsellor, you can chat about your ideas and plans. You can also get support from other organisations. The National Career Service can give you more information about jobs if you're between 13 and 19. Career Pilot gives you advice about your options if you're aged 11 to 19. And the government website gov.uk has lots of advice on starting an apprenticeship. Now, volunteering and work experience don't usually pay, but they can help you to build your confidence and gain skills for the future. And having experience on your CV can help you to get a job in the future. There are lots of ways to get involved. If you're interested in volunteering, you can speak to your school or college Your school might organise work experience for you, and they can give you advice on ways to get involved. Find opportunities near you. Look at local charities or use V-Inspire to find volunteering opportunities. And also raise money for charity. Raising money can help to build your confidence and keep you motivated.
A mental health podcast for young people.
Unboxed.
With Finley Ratnet.
Now, in the next part of this episode, I want to talk about money problems. Now, money problems can affect you in lots of different ways. You might be struggling with being able to buy food or pay for basic things, arguments at home about money, maybe not having the same thing as your friends. Some people might get threatening letters or threats of people coming round. And some young people might be worrying about not knowing if you can stay in your own home. Now, whatever's happening, there are ways to get help and ways to get through it. Now, how old you are and who you live with can have a big impact on what you can do. But it's important to get support whenever you can, and there are lots of things you can try. And again, I must bring this up as the first one. Tell someone what's happening. Talking about money can be hard. You might feel embarrassed about asking for help or worried about how someone will react. If your family or carers are struggling with money, it might help to think about how they'd react if you brought money up or when the best time would be. Talking about what's happening is an important way to get help, and you could ask for financial advice from an organisation like Citizens Advice. You can get help from food banks or support for essential items if you are struggling to afford essentials. And also, again, speaking to any adult you trust is really important. Now, a budget. Let's talk about budgets. Now, a budget is when you list all the money you have coming in and the things you need to spend money on. Writing everything down can be a great way to help you see how much money you have and find ways to spend less. A budget can help you if you're managing your own money, or it can be something your parents or carers can do themselves. And there are tools online that can help. Now, that's a really interesting one. I think that's really important that I don't think many young people think about, because I know many young people, many friends that I have, or many young people I know, maybe pay for their own Netflix or Amazon Prime or Disney Plus or Apple Music, Spotify, whatever. Lots of young people pay for their own sort of entertainment things, as well as some have to pay for rent and some drive. Now, what I do, I have I think it's about £55 of monthly expenses, and that's things like Amazon Prime, and I have this subscription that helps me prep for my radio show, get news stories and stuff, and then I pay for a custom email address. It's just basic things like that, really. Just shows how much of a tech nerd I am. But what I do is I put it in a Google Sheet. Now, sheets.google.com is a free, it's like Microsoft Excel, but it's online and it's Google. And I list everything I pay for. So you might list Amazon Prime, Netflix, blah blah blah. Write how much it is, write the month it comes out, and then at the bottom calculate it all, and type in the total price that you have, or the total amount of things that you have to pay for each month and how much that costs each month. And then when you get paid or whatever, you know how much you have to save or keep behind, and then you know whatever's left is yours to spend on whatever, really. Now, here's some simple steps to make a budget. Write down how much money you have coming in. This includes any regular money you get from family, work, or as benefits. Make a list of all the things you have to pay for each month. Like I said, this could include phone bills, rent, debts, travel, anything you have to pay for. Add up the amount you spend on food as well. If you make a weekly shop, multiply that by 4, or you could try keeping track of your spending for a week. And work out how much disposable income you have. Disposable income is what I mentioned a minute ago, is the amount of money you have after all your essential bills have been paid. And add up all the things you have to pay for, and then take that away from the figure you wrote down. So take that away from the amount of money that you have coming in, and then you'll know how much money you have left. And if the amount of money you're spending on essentials is more than the money you have coming in, it's important to get support. It can help to look closely at how much you're spending on food and see whether you could save money by making cheaper meals at home. It's also a good idea to get financial advice, like I said, from an organisation like Citizens Advice. And plan what to do next month or next week. If you have disposable income, plan how you'll spend it. It's important to put money aside each month for emergencies and to save if you can. It can help to do this at the start of the week or month to make sure you don't spend it. If you want something expensive, you can also put money aside each month to save for it. Write down how much you normally spend on going out, seeing friends, clothes, games, or anything you buy that's not essential. Try setting yourself a limit on how much you're allowed to spend on each thing from now on. Make sure that you don't spend more than your disposable income. And taking out a loan, it's not something I know that, not something that heard many of my friends doing, but it can feel like a good short-term solution, but it's not always a good idea. If you're 18 or over, payday loans can be tempting when you need some money quickly, but lots of payday loans have extremely high interest rates. This means you could end up paying back far more than you ever borrowed. And it's important to get financial advice before deciding to take out a loan by talking to an organisation like Citizens Advice. You're probably fed up of me saying that, but with a topic like this, talking about finance, it's really important that you are focused on your income and whatever's outgoing as well. And if you're able to, borrow money from friends or family can help when you need it. Borrowing money from people you know can be difficult, and it's important to think about what will happen if you can't pay them back, whether they would expect anything from you in return, and if they can afford it. It's important to talk about all of this before deciding whether or not to take money from someone. Borrowing money can sometimes change things between you and the person you know. If you're in a relationship, it can make you feel like you have less power. It's never okay for someone to pressure you to do things in a relationship because of money. And remember, even if you owe someone money, it's against the law for them to threaten to hurt you if you can't pay them back. Now, there are lots of ways to save money. Think before you buy. Ask yourself if you need something or just want it. Make yourself a wait today before deciding to buy anything. I mean, you probably know, obviously I do this podcast and I present my own radio show, and I'm into all my audio production and my computer stuff. And I might go on Amazon and I'll search for something that looks quite up my street, and I don't know, say it's £100. Oh, I really want it. But can I afford £100? Oh no, I really want it. Give yourself a day, go to bed, let yourself sleep on it. Think about these things. Can I afford it? How much do I want it? Or how much do I need it? And is it just that I want it, or do I actually need it? And shop around as well. You might see something on Amazon. Have a look on something else. Type the name of the product into Google. You might find it cheaper somewhere else. Try waiting for a sale or looking for a cheaper price for something you want. You can also use a price comparison site to help you find the best price for that product. And loyalty cards as well. Loyalty cards will help you to collect points and sometimes give you discounts. Remember that these are very different to store cards, which you should avoid as they can have high interest rates. And, with the current energy crisis going on, the cost of living, save on energy bills, turn off lights and the heat when you don't need them, and turn off the TV at the mains when you go to bed. That might seem like something you shouldn't be worried about as a young person, but get into the habit of doing that. And if you're over 16 and travel a lot, a 16 to 25 rail card can save you money every time you buy a train ticket. You might hear some people call these by their old name, a young person's rail card. That's something to look into. And also, old phones and devices that you don't use anymore could be worth something. You could also trade in old games towards the cost of a new one. And have days off from spending. Try to have days where you're not allowed to spend money at all. I mean, I used to order something pretty much every day, and my dad would be like, "Oh, these parcels. The delivery driver might as well move in." That was his joke. But yeah, give yourself a break. Have days where you don't shop on Amazon. Just take yourself away from online shopping and just focus on other things. And if you're going out or going food shopping, make a list of what you need to help you avoid buying things that you don't need. Avoid shopping when you're hungry, as it can make you buy more. And go to places that are free. Watch a film at home or play a game together. You might want to watch a film at the cinema. Do you really need to go to the cinema, or can you put something on Netflix and then wait for the film that you were going to see to come out and then watch it at home? There are lots of ways to spend money with people that doesn't cost money. Now, I hope this episode has been useful to you. Again, this is another topic that we could talk for ages about, but the important thing is, if you have your own monthly outgoings, find out what you get each month from a job or, pocket money, whatever. Find out what you need, what you have to pay for. Take that away from what you earn, and then you'll be able to find out how much disposable income you have, which is how much you have left after you pay for everything you need to, which will, help you with your spending. But yes, thank you very much for listening to this episode about your future and money problems. I hope it's been useful to you. If there's something specific you'd like to, if you'd like me to cover, then please do get in touch. You can email hello@unboxedpodcast.co.uk. You can message me on WhatsApp at the number 0117 318 2686. That's 0117 318 2686. I'll remind you of that number one more time in a minute. But add that number to your phone contacts. then go on WhatsApp, go to compose a message, find us as the contact and send us the message. Let us know what you'd like us to cover, or if you have any questions or feedback, we'd love to hear from you. But yes, that number one more time, if you want to message us on WhatsApp, here's the number.
Text us on WhatsApp 0117 318 2686. Start your message with the word unboxed.
Or again, you can email hello@unboxedpodcast.co.uk. But yes, thank you very much for listening to this episode of Unboxed. I hope it's been useful to you. Please do send in your feedback. Please do send in other episode suggestions. I would love to hear from you. Have a great rest of your day, whatever you're up to, and I'll speak to you in the next episode. Take care. Bye-bye.
A mental health podcast for young people.
Unboxed.
With Finley Ratnet.
Finley Ratnet.
Finley!